Hey there, it's Jen, and I'm back with another process video for Hip Kit Club. Today I am doing something a little bit different, and I am making cards, and we're challenged to use this Heidi Swapp sticker book and to try to include interactive elements. So I might do one card of each or try to work in the interactive element on both of them, I'm not sure. But I've also pulled out these magical little powders from the color kit, and I also thought that these Amy Tangerine little hearts would be probably cute, and I also pulled out the Heidi Swapp stamps because I think of stamping when I think of cards. And then I also pulled out these cards from the Pocket Life kit that I thought would be cute for cards. I think this would be really cute for a background, and then just a white piece of cardstock to use for my actual cards. So I'm going to start there. I'll put you on fast forward and talk you through the process.
So I'm starting by cutting two top folding cards from a 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock from the cardstock kit. And so I'm cutting them 4.5 by 11, and then I am going to score them at 5.5 so that they fold at the top. And I'm just using an embossing stylus for that. I'm just going to crease these, and these will be my card bases. So for one of them, I am going to use this 4x6 card from the Pocket Life kit, and I just cut it down so it has a small border around it. And now I'm going to flip through this Heidi Swapp sticker book, and I am obsessed with this sticker book. I love it. It's so cute. It's great for scrapbookers, and it's great for cards too. It's great for pocket pages. It's great for everything. I love this. This is my favorite sticker book I've ever seen. So now what I'm going to do, I kind of thought it would be fun to make sun rays coming out of that little journaling circle that's yellow. And so what I did was I got some modeling paste and I added some of the yellow powder to it. And what I'm going to do is just mask off sections using 2 pieces of scrap cardstock to make the rays. So if you had a stencil, this would be really easy, like if you had a sunray stencil, but I wanted to show you that you can also do it just by using pieces of cardstock and blocking it off. So I am just kind of spreading that paste through in between those 2 pieces of paper, and I'm just trying my best not to make a huge mess. I did cut one little piece of the cardstock at an angle so you can get that nice I can like butt it right up next to the previous sunray. And so I'm just going to do that all around the card. And then my circle will go in the middle. So I'm not worrying about going all the way to the center. But this was just kind of fun. And the yellow stands out enough from those little dots on the background, but you can also kind of see them through the modeling paste. So I think that's kind of cool. And I'm just using light modeling paste from Liquitex, I think. And again, just pulling that yellow paste through. And I will have a little bit of paste left over, and I cut this out of the video, but I'm just going to put it on another piece of paper with the stencil that came in the color add-on, just because I don't want to waste any of the paste. So I always like to put it somewhere. So I just put it on another scrap of paper, and I'll use that on another project sometime. So I'm just getting the last little ray done here, and I want to make sure that I don't run into my other rays. I don't want to smush them because the modeling paste has some texture to it, some dimension, and I want it to have that dimension. So here it's pretty dry-ish, and I'm going to start working on the sun part. So I want to pop up that little journaling spot that I'm going to use for the center of my sun, and I'm just using some foam tape for that. And then that little pink sticker says "You are my sunshine," so I'm going to stick that right in the middle. And I am just cleaning up the edges of the paper. If you do it while the modeling paste is still wet, then you can catch it before it hardens and gives you those rough edges. And I'm looking through the sticker book again, and I found this little sunshine, and so I'm going to put it behind the words, and I love the way that it looks just kind of in the center of that circle. And I'm going to put the little sentiment right across the middle. And I'm thinking that I'm want some clouds on here, and so I remembered that I had a cloud punch, so I just grabbed that and punched some clouds out of white cardstock. And then I remembered that in the main kit for this month, at least I think it's in the main kit, or else it's in the embellishment add-on, but there are some Vicky Bouton clouds, and they are so cute. So I'm going to use those mixed in with some of those little clouds that I punched from the white cardstock to create kind of a little scene here. So I've got the sunshine, I've got the clouds, and then the paper in the background, because of the way that the dots are going, it almost looks like raindrops, and so I like that. So I'm just going to kind of play around with the placement and how I want it. I decide to just go ahead and stick down the circle in the middle, and then I'll kind of arrange where I want the clouds. So I kind of decide to just make the clouds go up and down the whole card, and I put the two larger blue clouds kind of next to the middle of the sun, and then I put the white clouds around it. And I'm actually going to take and add a little bit of color to the white clouds here in just a second, because there is that modeling paste has moisture in it. It did warp this paper just a little bit, and so I'm using some double-sided tape to adhere this onto my card front, and I just put a lot on so that I could kind of flatten it out, and it ended up working great. So there it is stuck down, and here's where I'm going to take just the teensiest little bit of powder here and add some water to it. You can see how much pigment I got just with, I literally had like a speck of that color. It's hard to see on the video actually, but it's just a very light blue, and then I splattered it as well. I just wanted it to have just the lightest amount. Oh, there you can see the stenciling that I did with the leftover paste. Anyway, I just wanted to have the lightest amount of color. And those little jars of pigment, like those powders are super pigmented, so a little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to pop up the white clouds, and I'm just using some thinner foam adhesive than I used to pop up the middle of the sun. So there are kind of three, well, there's a lot of different dimensions, but the sun is kind of the most dimensional, and then you've got the clouds, and then also the modeling paste is a little bit dimensional as well. So I'm gluing down those blue clouds from the Vicky Bouton die cuts and getting these the white clouds in there as well. I'm going to put 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top, and then that is going to almost complete this card. I liked the way that it was turning out, but I felt like it needed some sort of other texture, and I love these little hearts from Amy Tangerine, and so I'm just going to use 3 of this kind of strawberry pink. It's like a really reddish pink, and I'm going to use those to just add those hearts on. At first I thought maybe I would add 5, but it just felt like too much, so I'll just go ahead with 3, and I'm going to just use 3 small ones and call it good. So that is the first card. I actually end up making 3 cards in this video. So I'm moving on to my second card, and I want to make some sort of grid on the background of my card using the stickers. So I'm kind of flipping through, and I come across these labels, and I decide that it would be fun to make one of these labels flip up. So this is where I'm going to get that dimensional or that interactive element going on. That's the other challenge for us, is to make an interactive element. So I made a huge mistake here, and I tried to cut a little window out of this this label, and it ends up looking horrific, and I'm going to ditch this, but I knew I wanted to do a similar idea. So I want to have it flip open, and then that "You Are Loved" sticker will be underneath it. And so I'm just going to kind of flip through and see what else I can find that I might be able to use. And I'm going to use my wax paper to kind of plan it out. So I'm just holding the wax paper over my card, and I'm just going to kind of play around with these label shapes and see what kind of grid I can make. I thought about using this large one and having part of it flip up, but it just seemed too big. So I'll play around a little bit with this, and I'll go back and forth with a few different things. I go back to the to this page that has a bunch of sentiments on it, a bunch of word strips, and I'm going to use some of those in my grid as well as that. I'm also going to use that XOXO little banner piece, And I'm liking kind of the amount of things that I have, but I still need something that can like hinge and swing open for me to put that underneath. And so there's this little sticker that says, what does it say? Notes, or I can't remember what it says now, but I decided to put that on some printer paper, and I didn't put the edge part on the printer paper, so that part will still stick down to the card, and then the printer paper is underneath the rest of the sticker, so it will lift up. And I'm going to build my little arrangement around that now. So you can see that little pink sticker fits right underneath it, and it's going to flip open and look really cute. So I'm just playing around, and these labels, they all fit together nicely, but they look pretty plain. So I'll end up adding some word stickers to them and some different things, and you'll see that here in just a second. I kind of felt like I didn't have another label to kind of fill in this space, and so I'm thinking about adding more of these word stickers. And then I kind of decide that it would be cute to add in some hearts, and so I'm going to use a big heart in place of one of, like, I'm just making a grid, so I'm just making all of these pieces equally distant from each other, and you can replace shapes, different kinds of shapes, for squares easily, as long as you just keep the same amount of distance between them. So I pulled out a bunch of hearts because I'm thinking that will be fun to kind of scatter in around all of these squares or these rectangles to kind of break up the lines a little bit. It really helps when you have a lot of square items to throw in something that has soft curves to it, like the heart, or circles or something like that, just to break it up a little bit. So I am just putting all of this together in that grid style, and anywhere that there's like a little space that doesn't quite match up, I'm just adding a heart. And I added the XOXO to that top little label, and then I'm adding some other words to some of the other labels as well, and some more hearts too. And at this point I'm thinking, I know I need more stuff, but I don't know what that stuff is. And I wanted to put a little hinge on the thing that you lift up, so it was very obvious that you should open it. And so I just went into my stash and found this little 1-inch adhesive tab, and I put it on the side, and then I'm going to, just on my typewriter, I'm going to type the word look and slide it in there in a minute. I'm going to stamp the word yes from the Heidi Swap stamp set on one of the labels. And then there wasn't anything else that I thought really fit. I could have stamped some of the hearts, but I had the heart stickers, so I decided against that. And I'm trying to find something that will go in that large space. And this word hello is perfect because it brings all of the colors together, and hello is a good sentiment for a card. It stands out, and I just thought it looked really cute. So I'm just looking for a couple more things here to kind of finish it off. I'm not super thrilled with the way that little heart looks down on the bottom label, and so I found this exclamation mark that fits perfectly in that space, and it has a little bit of yellow on it. So I'm going to go back to my little sheet that had the hearts on it. There's so many awesome stickers in the sticker book, but there was a yellow one, and so I found one so that I could be sure to add it, so that I had a couple places where yellow shows up. So you'll notice that I have all the colors in more than one place on the card. And I always like to have a good color balance. So I'm just adding one more little heart there, and I'm kind of switching up some colors just till I feel like it looks just right. And I get kind of picky about it sometimes. I'm going to trim down my card a little bit because I noticed it was a little off-centered, and so it's just a little bit smaller than 4 1/4 wide. It's probably about 4 inches wide now, and that's totally fine. So at this point I decided it needed a little something else, and to kind of like hold all of this stuff in the middle in, I'm just drawing a black line around the outside, and I'm letting the lines overlap each other. I wanted to do, instead of a messy line, a really straight one, and then I just kind of scribbled at the top, and it kind of looks like stitching or something. And so this is where I go to my typewriter and just type out the word look. I actually typed out open, look, and something else, but I decided that look was the one I wanted to stick in there. So I just cut it out and slid it in there, and I'm happy with the way that looks. And then I thought it would be nice to have something, just a little something on the flap, and so I'm just going to put another sticker there, and it says, don't forget this, and then it's pointing to the word that says I love you or something. Okay, so at this point I was thinking maybe I should use that stenciled piece, so I decided to make one more card, but I don't end up using that stenciled piece at all. So here are the first 2 cards that I made, and now I'm going to make a card on top of this PL card that is just a black and white stripe, and I added that large label to it. You can see the black stripes through it, but I'm fine with that. And I want to make this one fairly simple, so I'm just trying to find a sticker that I can put on the label, and I decide with this one that says to go with this one that says be fearless. I just like the boldness of it, and it fills that space in the label really well. And I thought the little stars, they're like sparkles, not even stars, there's like sparkles. I'm gonna add a whole bunch of those. They're in gold, and I'm gonna add it all around. And then I'm going to add some banners from the Vicky Boutin die cuts at the top. And I think that this just turned out really fun. And it's very simple. I thought about also, instead of this, adding like a bit of string and tying it around the top. It needed something at the top because the Be Fearless is obviously bottom heavy, but these little banners worked perfectly. And those banners are all over in her embellishments. They're in the stickers, they're in the chipboard, they're in the die cuts, so you should be able to find something there. Anyway, I thought about adding more stuff to this, but I just felt like maybe it was done. And so I go to grab a card base, and I have some colored card bases that I thought I might use, but none of them looked right. So I just went back to white, and instead of matting this in the middle of the card, I'm just going to cut the card down. So this will be a 3x4 inch card, and it's just a smaller version. So those are the 3 cards that I created. Here are some close-up photos coming up, and there are some photos of me lifting up that little latch there, and I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you'll try using these Heidi Swap stickers to make some projects, especially cards. It was super fun and super quick to make 3 cards. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.